Oh, almost, not yet. There we go. Hello, everyone. The person sitting on my whatever side it is that you are seeing it on is probably very familiar to you. It's Dr. Anna Cabeca, a renowned OB-Gyn. She's also an osteopath and a lot of other things, and the creator of a lot of amazing products. So, I was having an interesting conversation with my team the other day because most of them are significantly younger and like in their 20s and 30s. And one of the part of onboarding them and getting them, like really on the same page with us is getting them to talk about, just to understand that in your 20s and 30s, the problems you're having are vastly different than what's ahead of you. And, and I think they still don't particularly comprehend, they intellectualize it now, but they don't really feel it in their body yet, how much the body is going to change going into their 40s and 50s and 60s. And one of them, I tell them, is like, you do laugh and there's a little bit of a leakage down there. And a lot of women in their 40s and 50s, we don't like to go there and doing jumping jacks and rebounding, even though it's so good for our lymphatic system. We try not to stand and laugh, and sex isn't what it used to be. And the list goes on, and suddenly hemorrhoids that's showing up. So can you maybe, you on OB-GYN, you work with a demographic a whole ton, and let's talk a little bit about like what's changing in a woman's body as we go to that 45, I would say, and above. At least in my case, I've definitely noticed 45 was like a turning point. Everything just started becoming different. The skin is not the same anymore. Skin down there is not the same anymore. What is going on?
Yeah, I always like to talk about this, and just think about the changes that happen as we age. The goal is to continue to change, right? We're going to have transitions, but we don't want to rapidly age. We don't want to suffer the complications that can be prevented, right? And I think as a gynecologist, I'm working for over 3 decades with women. It's recognizing that, we really have this rite of transition, and we can breeze through menopause into our second spring really easily. So like hormonal changes occur in puberty, they occur in menopause. And what's happening down below is we get a thinning of our skin. I mean, no different than we get around our eyes, wrinkles here, around our, our laugh lines, smile lines, if you will. We do get thinning of the skin then there, loss of collagen, wrinkles and atrophy, and decrease in vaginal mucus production, or glandular secretions, and also the clitoris, which has 8,000 nerve endings. I mean, twice as much as the penis. Hugely sensitive, right? That will get atrophic over time if we let it. And the same thing, the muscles will relax over time if we let it. And then around the anus too, hemorrhoids, fissures. I mean, this isn't a process even just isolated to those of us who are over 45, right? It's also our extreme athletes, our professional athletes, and our cyclists and our equestrians and our, in general. I mean, Magdalena, you and I were doing jumping jacks, didn't even think about incontinence, really. But 10 years ago, I couldn't wear light gray sweats because of incontinence issues when I exercised, right? And so now I don't even think about it because of the preventive measures that I put in place for myself, my patients, and women, open-minded women, to really prevent these issues from occurring. And if they have occurred, to let's healing them at the cellular level.
Yeah. So, I mean, overall, there is a drop in testosterone, in our estrogen levels, right? That can impact our vulva as well. Can you talk a little bit about,
the vaginal tissue, and people don't recognize this, but the vaginal tissue is hormone receptive. The vaginal, vaginal canal itself is the mucosa responds to estrogen, but the deeper layers respond to DHEA and testosterone and progesterone. So we have hormone receptors, of course, in our area, in our pelvis, in our perineum. We call the area essentially around the vaginal opening the perineum. So that's what's happening that's what's, affected. A big part of it is that hormonal decline. And because the area is so vascular, it really responds well to hormonal therapies.
Yeah. So talk a little bit about Julva. Do you have it with you right
I
now?
do.
Yeah.
I do.
Okay.
I've got some beautiful Julva with me.
So I
So
had a friend came over the other night, and she's our formulator, and we were playing around with your Julva and applying it accordingly. And she said she couldn't stop smelling it, and it's like this amazing light rose smell to it. No synthetics. It's just absolutely wonderful and addictive. So tell us, how did you formulate this? Like, why did you formulate it in the first place?
Well, I did formulate it, smell good and taste good. And I just showed you that little amount, just like a pea-sized amount is all you need to start with. It's really like so many times, especially, creams, you have to use a lot of it and it's messy, or there are suppositories and you have discharge. So I formulated this to be applied clitoris to anus, and it's designed to smell good, taste good, and all very natural, all natural ingredients completely. And because of working in women's health for so long and then retiring my clinical practice, patients were like, Dr. Anna, I can't get no one will write me your compounded formulas. It's like a foreign language to my doctor, right? And so I said, well, let me come up with something over the counter. I'd already had created vaginal DHEA tablets, but I had to pull them from the market because of need for FDA approval for them. And again, I was a single mom running a practice, closed my practice. I didn't have the time or bandwidth to do that. And so I had a cosmetic line at the time, and DHEA was one of the key ingredients that I used in my compounds. And to that, I wanted to create a formula to be used topically that doesn't have to be inserted vaginally. So I wanted ingredients that would also drive it into the tissues to get the best effect and best absorption. So I added in emu oil, coconut butter, and shea butter, and then stem cells. Using stem cell science, I used the stem cells from the alpine rose, the Swiss alpine rose. So this rose blossoms in the harsh conditions of the harsh terrain of the Swiss Alps, you can imagine. And for me, seeing this rose on this rocky terrain just exemplifies femininity, and especially femininity in the second spring of our lives. And the research behind the alpine rose stem cells is really fabulous. It's been around for a while. It has very safe. It has shown very, antiviral properties, anti-aging properties, collagen building properties. It's really an amazing stem cell. So working with the combination of these ingredients and formula, it took me 3 years back and forth in clinical trials. And we came up with a really perfect formula, in my opinion. We have hundreds of thousands of happy users.
Yeah, and so I'm gonna post the link for you guys to try it. I do recommend to do the sample first, just so you kind of get a feel for it. I just posted the link. It's a bit.ly link with a summer of love, and so you can see it there. And it's just a nice, simple sample that's for free. You only pay for shipping. Is that correct?
Right. Yes, a small amount for shipping.
And that little sample lasts for about 7 days or so?
Yeah, it should last for 7 days.
Okay, awesome. Now, I have a couple of questions here for you. So one of my questions is, what's the difference between DHEA, the creams with Julva's DHEA, versus estriol cream or some herbal creams that are creams that are infused with different herbs that are supposed to help with incontinence and tightening things up down there? What is the difference?
DHEAs work better than anything else I've used. Estriol also only works on the mucosal layer, as does estrogen or estradiol. So estrogens in general work on the mucosal layer of the vagina. And, again, superficially, it will help, but it won't necessarily significantly improve your body's own natural production of secretions and moisture, as well as the with pelvic floor exercise. I always say you want to use Julva with pelvic floor exercises done properly to strengthen the pelvic floor. And so DHEA has been shown with many studies over the past decade and a half, if not more, to look at safety studies that DHEA converts at the intrinsic cellular level apply topically to estrogen and testosterone. A little bit. We don't see any significant bumps, certainly no abnormal bumps in our serum levels, our circulating blood levels. And so we feel it's very, very safe, even for women who have had breast cancer. They did studies, and I published this on my website on DHEA and breast cancer, looking at clients' recent work that has shown incredible safety and efficacy with using DHEA, as well as studies done for many years now, especially by breast surgeon Rebecca Glazer, looking at testosterone and decreasing recurrent breast cancer risk. So I think those are really powerful and give our women who have had breast cancer something to feel, safer and to take control back over their health.
Yeah, in case you guys wonder why Dr. Cabeca is talking about that, DHEA converts to estrogen, testosterone, and then estrogen, and so estrogen is potentially a problem for some women with breast cancer. So
with that said too, just to go over vaginal estrogen. So we wouldn't give oral DHEA, we wouldn't give oral estrogen in someone who has had breast cancer. So, but one of the things that we have seen, certainly, that vaginally administered DHEA is in women who have had breast cancer has shown a decreased morbidity and mortality, so better results, better quality of life. So again, it's our decision. We want to make sure, especially once we've had a diagnosis of breast cancer, to do everything we can to address the issues that cause the breast cancer to begin with, and not be afraid, honestly, of our own hormones, let alone, estrogen, has shown so many safety. We have seen a lot more safety, especially with topical.
So what do generally women report about Julva as in being the major benefits?
Definitely see improvement, having more fun in the bedroom. So that's always a good thing. In fact, going from roommates to boyfriend, girlfriend again, and some very long-lasting marriages. And so I love to hear that, because often the vaginal dryness is discomfort after sex, the odors, urinary tract infections that we can get as a result of changes to our vaginal pH and ecology as we get older. We see that, and that creates a disconnect in the bedroom. So being able to see that improve is tremendous. So we see it more natural vaginal pH with the use of Julva, natural secretions come back, and gynecologists telling their patients, whatever you're doing, keep doing it. I mean, your vagina looks 20. I love hearing that. And plus partners saying, hey, your vagina is tight and just feels amazing. Like, that's great. Again, with pelvic floor exercises, we really love to hear that. The other thing is definitely especially in younger women who have had babies like me, I've had 4 big babies vaginally, is the incontinence issue. And the incontinence issue is a really big one. So accidental bladder leaks when you are jogging on a trampoline, doing jumping jacks, trying to work out, laughing, coughing. That is something we can address, and we can go a long way to Julva to helps with that. With pelvic floor exercises, you can use some Kegel biofeedback devices to really help re-strengthen your pelvic floor. But just like your muscles here are going to wane, really work them out well, so that same thing's going to happen to the pelvic floor. We don't want that, because that affects your quality of life. And instead of just laughing it off, well, I'm just older and I have to wear a panty liner every day. That panty liner has chemicals and compositions in it that's going to make dryness worse and really affect your quality of life in the long run as well. So we want to eliminate that, that accidental leaking whenever possible. And and then of course, anal fissures and hemorrhoids. So I have many guys too that are using Julva because of that number one reason, not to mention to help the erectile function. But women and men, women athletes especially, having had babies, have issue with hemorrhoids. I mean, how many years, how old's Amanda? 25 years ago, I'm in terrible hemorrhoids. I wish I had Julva then, But now no issue. And so
would Julva stop the hemorrhoids getting worse, or can it be reversed if you do it early?
I think that's what we just have to watch and figure out and see. So we definitely have seen improvement in hemorrhoids and symptomatic hemorrhoids, but also want to work on the constipation issues and any other reason for the hemorrhoids. But keeping the tissue clitoris to anus as healthy as possible, conditioned, elastic, healthy collagen, not dry, not, cracking, that's going to make a big difference, not just, to the external skin, but to the, the layers that are covering the vessels, like the venous vessels that are causing the hemorrhoids.
Yeah. We have a couple of questions. Let's go over to those. Barbara is saying, is it safe for women on anastrozole?
Yes, Barbara, as this is, Julva is clinically safe for women on anastrozole. And I think it's definitely something, however, if you're currently taking anastrozole, which is a medicine for breast cancer and anti-estrogen, you really want to talk with your doctor. I always tell clients, if you are under the treatment of a physician for any history of cancer, you want to confirm with them that you're a good candidate for Julva. And, in my clinical practice, I felt very comfortable. So I think that's just something, especially with the ongoing research that we're seeing.
Okay. Jeanette is asking, is this also good for women with overactive bladder?
Yeah. I put a lot of pepper in my bone broth today, Magdalena.
I'm glad you're drinking bone broth.
It is so yummy. So, so I have had many reports that our clients with overactive bladder have done really well using Julva. Overactive bladder can be caused by a number of things. My voice is still not fully recovered.
Yeah.
But overactive bladder can be caused by a number of things, and we want to avoid caffeine, spicy foods, and any food sensitivities.
Yeah. Okay, great. So that works. We have a number of questions asking about shipping to Canada.
That's an issue. We have an issue because Canada DHEA is only available by prescription.
Yeah.
So we do have, yeah.
Go ahead.
So, there have been some creative workarounds, that people have had, they've come to the US or they have an address in the US.
Yeah, the other way you can do this, you guys, for those of you who are in Canada, sign up for myus.com. I'm not affiliated with this company at all, but we've had great feedback. myus.com. You create an address there, and you can, whatever stuff that you want from the US that doesn't ship to Canada, and that's many, you ship it there to yourself in that address in the United States, and they forward that to you. But I don't know whether they were gonna do DHEA. That's the only thing you need to find out from them. Okay. This is a comment from somebody on YouTube who says, "Mom of 3 babies, one was 9 pounds. Julva has been a lifesaver."
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. That's awesome. I'm telling you, It's a game changer. It really has changed my life, and it's really nice. And to hear the feedback, I mean, I just, if I'm having a bad day, I'll just go and read the Julva testimonials. Yeah. So thank you for sharing that.
I will say, when we brought Julva to our community for the first time, the biggest feedback we got actually was women having reduced incontinence. And I don't know whether it was because it's like the most embarrassing thing. When you leak in a gym, you leak when you laugh, you leak when you walk, you jump, and it was just addressing that. That was like the biggest thing mentioned. The second one was the bedroom fun. All right. Sunshine is saying, how is Julva better than HRT?
It can be used right alongside of HRT. So, and when I use HRT, I use a bioidentical HRT, to the best of my ability. But so Julva is topical and it's applied. It just, the combination of ingredients works better than any combination. And plus, if you're on oral or other creams or transdermals, when you're using HRT, you want to rotate sites for the most part. Julva, apply clitoris to anus. Do it every day. You can apply that small amount. Where did I put it already? You apply that, you can apply this small amount, put it on, you want like a few tubes, because you want one in the bathroom where you can apply it on toilet paper, a small amount, apply it on toilet paper and wipe with it front to back after you've wiped. wipe again with Julva. And it's just, I mean, it just feels so amazing. And then have one by your bedside. And of course, one at the cosmetic, at your vanity. Put on your lips, upper lips too.
Yeah. Okay. Did you guys hear that? Oh, put it on your lip. Awesome. Yeah. So, and then let's see, what else do we have? So, hey, you guys, I've just posted the link to the sample. It says bit.ly Summer of Love. It's in the comments. Take a look at that. Let's see, what else do we have? This is a good question. Lisa is saying, would this be used alone or in conjunction with Bio-S cream?
You can definitely use it in conjunction. Would add it to your hormone balancing routine.
Okay. Yeah. Awesome. All right. Short and sweet. Well, thank you so much for being with us today. I know you are still recovering. So good to have you here. Always a wonderful product. I personally use it as well, and I'm loving it. I just started using it. I started having a little bit of hemorrhoid issues, and so I've just started applying it, and we'll know all about it. I'll tell you.
I can't wait to hear. I can't wait to hear.
I think it's definitely from the years of having. So my tendency is to have constipation. I think it was from the years of having constipation, and as I age, I can definitely feel my estrogen slowly dropping. And I guess it's just manifesting down there too. So no one of us is exempt, right? Every one of us is going to have vaginal dryness and atrophy. So doing something about it preventively is as important as treating it when you're there. So I have clients in their 30s through their 80s using Julva. And I think it's really smart as to have, to not give up and to be proactive on our health. And and you never know. Like I have a client, she was widowed for 30 years. She's in her 70s and she remarried. It's a beautiful story. Do I have a second to tell you this love story? You do.
It's a lovely, inspirational love story because, I'm single in my 50s. So she was widowed for 30 years, went to her high school reunion and she met her high school sweetheart. And so they got married, and then they, just so, in love with each other. I think okay, it was just not like what it was in high school, and they actually couldn't have sex. And they found my products 2 years into their marriage, and she started using it regularly and with intercourse. And she goes, we're on a video call because I was doing a live Julva question and answer. And she goes, Jimmy, come tell Dr. Anna about what Julva has done for us. And he goes, honey, life is good. Dr. Anna, this is just so good. And they were they have a sex life again in their 70s. They're like, we feel like we're teenagers again. And I love that. Like, why not? Right? Why not? And that is going to increase the longevity of their marriage. And as, dating in their 50s, there are other single women out there, it is like when you find someone you want to spend your life with and be intimate with, you want to have that intimacy. And, the dryness will be there if we don't proactively work to prevent that from happening. Unfortunately, the vagina is so resilient and so vascular that, that something like this, all natural, no, hormone disrupting ingredients in it, no chemicals. It works just beautifully. So
the friend I was telling you about who was here, she puts everything in her mouth. She just can't stop herself. And I left mine in the bathroom, but she literally put it in the mouth. And I was just like, oh my God. And I'm thinking, like, this is one thing, ask me first. And no, but she said all she could taste was rose.
That is well, that's what I said. If you can't eat it, you shouldn't put it on your body. Right. And that's the philosophy behind and plus, for oral sex, that's a whole nother thing. It's safe. It's 100% safe.
Right. Let's just do one other question and then we need to wrap up. Tina is saying, what is the tightening agent?
So it's actually between doing your pelvic floor exercises and the combination of the ingredients that are combined. So between the DHEA, the plant stem cells from the alpine rose, the emu oil, coconut butter, and the shea butter, those key ingredients, those work together to help penetrate the skin, to help improve the condition of the pelvic floor. And we see that over and over and over again. And great question.
Okay, quick one. Margaret is saying, I may have missed this, but can this be also used on your skin?
Yes, well, the skin, clitoris to anus, that's the most important skin, right,
I
of our
think it
body.
probably means like
But
skin
you
elsewhere.
you can definitely use it. I
Yeah.
usually say upper lips, lower lips, and you can use some for sure for tightening. Yeah, it works really nicely. It works
Awesome.
really nicely.
Thank you so much for having you here today. Thanks so much, you guys, for questions. That the link to try out the sample, which comes for free, you just pay for shipping, is available on the link in the comments. So just look for it. It's right there. Thanks, everyone, and I'll see you soon. Bye.
Bye.